Scammers online, spreading their lies, pumping stocks with dollar signs in their eyes. But we see through the noise, cut through the mold, calling out fraudsters. Truth be told, hey, expose the lies, let the story unfold. Truth be told, yeah, shining the light on the tricks they sold. No hype, no spin, we bring the facts, let the truth roll in. Fraudsters beware, your game's getting old. We're taking it back when truth be told. Truth be told. Truth be told. And the truth shall set you free.
Oh, well, hello everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Truth Be Told. Run it off of OBS because the ladies are out tonight. One of them is on a road trip, and the other one's down at the casino enjoying Valentine's Day, so you get just me tonight. Though I do still have a fun show planned for all of us tonight, so it should be interesting, and it should be a little bit fun. I do have some mainstream news and then meme stock news as usual. Before we get into that, though, I wanted to have some fun showing off kind of the stuff that I did. I was trying to do more like stylized art for the thumbnails this time. I wanted to kind of try out having a little bit more fun with it. I don't know if you guys caught on to who all was our feature people in the thumbnail, some of them more obvious than others if you've been paying attention to the show. I did have James Fishback slated. Oh, I see that spiked a little. Let's take some edge off of that. How about we do that? There we go. I did originally have James Fishback planned as our number one slot to start out tonight. But plans change when someone decides to be a massive freaking idiot on the internet. I know, so someone's wrong on the internet. How dare they? Well, this one is particularly bad from someone who, if you've been watching the live streams before, is we like to call his podcast the All Retarded Podcast.
FD.
Because if there's one thing Chamath is great at, it's giving some really, really bad takes. I wonder if I can set something up here that if... 1 second, I'm gonna try something. This is some of the fun stuff that I can do when I'm just doing OBS and it's just me and I don't have to really... No, I don't want to do window. How about display capture? And we'll set that up as full screen. Yeah, display capture, and I want it to be this. Yes. Aha. Maybe I'll learn to be a little bit more prepared out the gate on that. But okay. So yeah, we got Chamath and his buddies, and they're going to talk about Warren Buffett. Let's see how this one goes from the All Retarded Podcast.
And this is where now I'm going to get a lot of people really upset with me. In 2000, we introduced the law called Reg FD. And what was the point of Reg FD? It was basically that if you're a CFO, you cannot talk to an individual stock manager and tell him something that you then don't tell everybody else. Essentially inside information. That used to be not illegal. I won't say that it was legal. I would just say that used to be not
Didn't want
illegal.
That to happen. There we go.
You call your buddy. He says, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "Man, quarter was a blockbuster." You would go and buy the stock. And starting in the 2000s, it became illegal. And there used to be these networks of information arbitrage that took advantage of this. Now, this is an example of Warren Buffett's returns pre and post Reg FD. Now, what do you see?
I see a shitty argument on the way.
The market returns. When this kind of information sharing was legal. And the minute that it became illegal and you had to basically act on the same edge as everybody else, his returns went to the market return. He generated
Mhm.
zero alpha.
Mhm.
In fact, he probably on the margins lost a little bit. So this is the single
Oh,
best
yeah.
investor in the world. This is what happens when you have information symmetry. So it's just meant to explain that markets thrive when there's asymmetry. Billions and billions of dollars will be made in asymmetry. The prediction markets today, unless they are regulated out of existence or shut down, will look like the stock market pre-Reg FD.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, cool story there, Chamath. It I don't know how best to handle this because, like, Chamath, as we all know, why did it do that? Is SPAC Jesus and is known for his fucking scam shit. And he immediately got drugged by everybody for that fact. Chamath sounds smart, but he's an absolute idiot. There are far more reasonable explanations why the returns were different for different periods rather than Warren Buffett is using insider trading. Just because Chamath is shady as fuck doesn't mean Warren is. Likely explanations: the size of the portfolio, which a lot of people have brought up, and also the fact that, Warren Buffett has not been big into tech. So, there are some of your big answers right there. And also, I find this hilarious. Like, Chamath's buddy there, David Stacks, is currently in the administration, which is like the ultimate arbitration, information arbitrage of knowing what's going on. When you got your pals on DC who can give you the inside edge. While you're at it, you're not kind of making the laws for stuff like AI for your tech bro buddies. But yeah, do tell us more about that, Chamath. Definitely. Yeah, and of course, you take a look at his returns on his SPACs. He's had one SPAC that's performed compared to its 5-year cumulative return is actually outperformed. Well, two. I mean, if you want to give that little sliver to him, but Berkshire. Also, though, I mean, why not just combine all these down? Because there's a bunch of investments inside of Berkshire Hathaway. So just combine all these down. But still, point taken. And a Jake that actually knows shit as opposed to the Jake we know from, the Bed Bath & Beyond baggies. Fun times to be had by all. But yes, I did promise that we do have a bit of politics stuff. We got in our mainstream news topic section to start us out for the night, and that is James Fishback. Finance adjacent scammer, grifter, fake macro guru, James Fishback. Finally, we have gotten back the report and recommendations on his on the debt collection situation down there in Florida, where Greenlight Capital is trying to get their money back from James Fishback. Remember, we haven't even gotten to the whole legal fees thing. That's still being discussed and, hasn't been approved by the court yet in that other case. So this is just, he defaulted on a loan we gave him and he hasn't paid it back. Can we get our money back? So this was in response to several pending motions that the court is finally getting to judgment on the pleadings. The first two motions are for judgment garnishment pleadings, so those will, of course, go through just fine. The unimposed motions for judgment on the pleadings should be granted. Plaintiff should recover the monies. The motion for civil contempt and sanctions is where it gets fun. The third motion pending in this case is plaintiff's motion for civil contempt and sanctions. The basis for this motion is defendant's failure to comply with the court's November 5th, 2025 order at ECF number 43, which granted plaintiff's motion to compel, ECF number 27. Defendant did not comply with the order. Plaintiff argues that defendant continues to scoff at his obligations under the discovery order. Yeah, we discussed that in a previous episode where James had basically said, I'm not going to pay them anything. I'm not going to let I believe he used the term lawfare rather hilariously, considering he started out trying to sue them. So like this is the thing with James Fishback is he constantly is trying to spin the narrative. It is so clear what an absolute fucking liar he is. Anytime his mouth is moving, he is absolutely saying something untrue. And that is just another key point of that. Fishback and Ethan, two interesting audio files. I know we'll get to the some of those that I had posted from this week. Some of them more popular than others with the algorithm. I have a feeling the second one wasn't so popular because there was a gun involved. And defendant did not comply with that order. Plaintiff argues defendant continues to scoff at his obligations under the discovery order. Not only did defendant Fishback not comply, plaintiff contends defendant Fishback had publicly declared his intention not to pay. Yeah, defendant's statements were made. Well, we got the link here. Does it timestamp to the? Yes, it does.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of petty.
Okay, here. Okay, let me get this going again. Because this is really good. Let me skip it back here a little bit for what we missed.
I've never seen so much bruised personality over all of this. And part of the reason why I left this world and built my own thing is because I didn't want any part in the hedonistic, wealth-obsessed, secular, just disgusting, despicable culture.
You're in finance, bro! You were in fucking finance, the most amoral profession ever. If you make money, that's all anyone cares about. You made this choice. You fucking made the choice. I don't know what you want. Mike, I only started listening to both recently. Yeah, we only started following Fishback last year when at first we thought, to give a little background on why we have been following James Fishback, is because right about the time of the whole Lisa Cook thing, he started going after Lisa Cook and the Federal Reserve, had a hate boner for Jerome Powell, and started supporting what Pulte was doing. And we were like, this wouldn't be the first time that when Bill Pulte can't do something that he's used surrogates to attack his opponents. And our belief that was the situation was only further compounded when Democracy Forward filed its FOIA against the FHFA department and Bill Pulte, seeking documents of potential communications between Bill Pulte and James Fishback. So if a professional political outfit and, lawyers are basically going around being like, hey, we would like to look into this, then, when you have a conspiracy in your head that you're like, I don't know. I mean, I can't really prove anything, but other people start agreeing with you on it. You start to go, maybe there is something there if other people are seeing it. Maybe. But yeah, that's when we started following James Fishback, because he seemed like he was this surrogate for Bill Pulte, because, when you're in a political position, you can't always voice your opinion. So it's really convenient to have someone else do the talking for you. I starting to think that's less of the case. I think it's more that, James Fishback is just a fucking political grifter. And it was really convenient for him, especially since he's trying to market himself to conservatives and Republicans, that it makes a lot of sense for him to basically play pretend this whole thing, or get involved with, Bill Pulte and try and grift that conservative credibility that he desperately needs, especially now that he's running for political office in Florida.
I am someone who the number of parties I've been to in my life, I could count on one hand. Seriously. I believe that Sundays are for church, family, rest, I'm not someone of extravagant means. I never have been. I don't ever want to be. But I do respectfully,
But you
Dennis,
got
want
into
to say to
finance.
this experience thing, because we didn't talk about it. One, I'm not a big fan of credentialism. I think that if I went to Harvard Law and I told you I did all these great things, that the petition I am seeking is the permission from Florida voters to earn their trust. Here's what I will. Earlier this year in federal court, over what I saw as Jerome Powell keeping interest rates, my resources on the line to sue the Federal Reserve Chairman, mortgage fraudster. I personally filed an amicus brief with the U.S. Supreme called Incubate Debate. It's a free high school debate league I started.
I think what the link did was take it to the video, but it skipped to where I last viewed it. Sorry. I'm pretty sure I can find, if it'll let me pull up the transcript. Control F. Let's see here. Oh, about pay. There we are. There we go.
He was based in Europe. We hired somebody from Europe to build out a European investment operation. We decided not to do that, and so we parted ways.
So then, going back to the Tesla, I mean, you said that you're not a wealthy man, and that's sort of an out there statement, because somebody who has $500,000 in the bank may consider themselves not wealthy. But then if you talk to somebody who lives in, a low income area, they'd be like, 500,000. You know what I would do for that? So to buy a Tesla, I mean, a Tesla is not exactly a cheap truck or a cheap car, depending on which one you bought. I mean, so you bought your father a Tesla. I mean, it wasn't even you bought it for yourself; you bought it for your father. So that sounds like
it was in his name. So guess what?
Well, I bought it on. To be fair, Dennis, I bought it on eBay. I bought it used on eBay. We drove out to Dallas to pick it up. It was $50,000 or something, right? I mean, I didn't. I think it'd be one thing if they confiscated a Bentley. Car. They confiscated a 3-year-old Model Y Tesla, right? Okay. And they did that because a judge exacted a penalty for me not paying their legal fees. And I'm just telling you right here, right now, on the record, I'm not going to pay $250,000 in my billionaire ex-boss's legal fees when he is pursuing lawfare against me. If you want,
and by the way, that is also a fucking lie. He, the one that was the lawsuit about him breaking his employment contract and all that other stuff hasn't even concluded yet. Like, the legal fees are still in dispute, last I checked. This one has to do with the fact that he owes them money for defaulting on a promissory note. Again, anytime James Fishback's mouth is moving, he is lying. That's what he does. I'm kind of surprised Pulte didn't try to hit on Ann from, like, well, the thing there is that I know he's kind of in the background from what I've heard with the meme stock community, but like, he's not actively there right now. Yeah, we'll get to that. That's pretty hilarious. Let me close out some of these tabs. Doop, 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 doop. That's the one thing I don't like about OBS. I can't exactly hide when I'm closing tabs. Again, defendant Fishback was provided an opportunity to file a response to the motion. His January 23 deadline passed without a response. Although defendant did not file a proper response to the third motion, plaintiff's motion for civil contempt and sanctions, defendant did attempt to file a declaration of James Fishback. Remember, he is pro se at this point because he can't afford lawyers. Like, his lawyers up and quit on him because he stopped paying their legal bills. So he's filing pro se, which is always a great strategy. But to be fair, once you get to like this collection proceedings side, a lot of people are pro se. Like, unless there's something legally you need to do, you just owe money and need to pay it. But as James Fishback said, he says he's not going to pay, which is definitely a great stance to have in front of the court. First, it's not a proper response to the motion because it did not include a memorandum as required by Local Rule 7.1. Second, it was not timely filed, and defendant Fishback did not file a motion requesting it be deemed timely filed or belatedly accepted. Remember, he said that he was trying to electronically file it from, I think, the last time we talked about this. He tried to electronically file it, he said, and it wasn't going through, which as someone who knows how that sort of system works, I call bullshit. I call a lot of fucking bullshit. Then the court even mentioned that they tried to, they called the clerk's office because he tried to ex parte contact with the judge to try and figure out what was going on, which is not what you do. You call the clerk's office. He tried to call the clerk's office. So the judge called up the clerk's office, and they're like, we don't have any fax filings, any paper filings, any e-filings or anything, because he also said that he sent in a paper filing that they also didn't receive, which again, knowing how this works, I just call massive amounts of bullshit. The smell wafts up. It hits me in the face. So what ends up happening is he sends it to plaintiffs or judgment creditors' attorneys to have them e-file it like defacer. So it wasn't timely filed. Sure, okay, whatever, I guess. If that's the route you want to go. So yeah, that's basically what the court is saying. It was not timely filed, and he didn't, ask for it to be deemed timely filed, nor did he, ask the court to have it belatedly accepted. Third, the declaration does not include a certificate of service as required by local rule 5.7. I assume these since he sent it to the other party to have them file it, that, hey, I did, but you still got to have the certificate of service saying that that's what you did and how you did it. Again, when you do things pro se, you end up looking like an idiot sometimes. A lot of times. And defendant Fishback was specifically advised that the requirement in an order entered on October 17th, despite that guidance, he did not comply. So the court knew that he was pro se and was like, okay, pro se person, you may not know how this works. Here's how you do it. And then he proceeded not to, take the court's advice. Again, another great look. Fourth, defendant's instant declaration. Oh, I love when judges use scare quotes. the contempt that the judge has for James Fishback is like just dripping off the ink of these pages. Fails to comply with local rule 5.1e or federal rules of civil procedure 11a because it does not contain his original signature. Instead, defendant once again introduced only electronic signature without a proper signature block containing his address and contact information. Oopsies. To be fair, most judges overlook that, but like when you have a whole list of other things that you fucked up, yeah, they're going to just like ding you for every little thing. On the only other occasion when defendant Fishback attempted to file a document in this case, he included an electronic signature. The previously mentioned October 17, 2025 order informed the defendant that Rule 5.1e requires a pro se party's signature block to include a handwritten signature, typed or printed name, street address, email address if the party has one, and telephone number if the party has one. The order also explained that under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 11a, a pro se party must personally sign a document, and if the party does not properly do so, the court is required to strike the document, which is considered to be an unsigned paper. Yeah, like this is the whole thing about being a pro se litigant. You got to know the rules. You are going to be treated like any lawyer. You're going to be expected to know the rules. Some leniency may be given, but if you fuck up, the court's going to call it out, and they're not going to accept that oh, well, shit, I just didn't know. Well, it's your responsibility to know. You were representing yourself, and you have the same requirements a lawyer would if you had a lawyer. Because defendant Fishback has already been warned that any document submitted to the court for filing must contain his original signature and not an electronic signature, this latest submission is deemed to be intentional and willful. The declaration must be stricken unless defendant Fishback files an amended declaration in compliance with Rule 11 and Local Rule 5.1e. The court is doubtful that defendant Fishback will do so considering his history in the case. This judge is just having none of this. But in any event, the declaration is not proper sufficient response to the motion for sanctions and civil contempt. You know what? Yeah, well, go ahead and hit us with it. What? You know what? An emotional salary. Yeah. Pursuant to rules of civil procedure, a party may move for sanctions when an opposing party, they think they can pay bills and shit with feelings. Yeah. Or they think that they can move the court by just, I have pity on me. No, the rules still apply to you. You're not special. A party may move for sanctions when the opposing party fails to obey an order or permit discovery, including under Rule 26F, 35, Rule 35, Rule 37A. Sanctions may include holding party in contempt of court, the failure to obey any order, fulfilling emotional needs of the community. The emotional salary is discussing. I'm not sure what that has to do with anything, but okay. In addition, the disobedient party must be ordered to pay the reasonable expenses, including attorney's fees, the cost of failure, unless the failure was substantially justified or the circumstances make the award of expenses unjust. Plaintiff contends that defendant Fishback's failure to comply with the order is willful. Despite plaintiff's attempts to discuss the discovery failures with defendant Fishback, the defendant has made unsupported and unfathomable representations that he is unable to do so. Plaintiff argues that defendant's excuses for failing to produce discovery compelled are not believable. Thus, the plaintiff requests that defendant be held in contempt and sanctioned $200 every day that defendant fails to comply. I will mention that this judgment was granted on the 10th, and I haven't heard him do anything. So we're already up to $200, $400, $600, $800. Plaintiff also seeks its fees and costs, which have been unnecessarily incurred as a result of defendant's failure. Has civil contempt authority in cases in which the parties have considered the magistrate judge. In any other case, when challenging an action which constitutes civil contempt, the magistrate judge shall forthwith certify the facts of the judge to a district judge and may serve or cause to be served upon any person whose behavior is brought into question under this paragraph, and an order requiring such person to appear before the district court upon a day certain to show cause that the person would not be adjudged in contempt by the reason the facts so certified. Thereafter, presenting district judge shall hear the evidence and impose the punishment. In this case, plaintiff's unopposed motion, ECF number 55, provides sufficient reason to require James Fishback to appear in person before a district judge, Mark E. Walker, and show cause why he should not be held in contempt. The motion for civil contempt, sanctions, and attorney's fees and costs should be granted. So plaintiff will get the recoveries from the garnishment, and it's recommended that important recommendations. Plaintiff's motion for civil contempt and attorney's fees and costs will be granted, and they will set a show cause hearing, which can get very bad for Mr. Fishback because judges are very, let's put it this way. Since we are dealing with civil proceedings, you generally see these sorts of show cause hearings have financial penalties to them, and for good reason. But just to be clear, you can be held in contempt on certain cases, in certain situations, and they put you in prison until you purge yourself the contempt. usually when you're dealing with stuff like, discovery, especially in an active case where, the pendency of that discovery, let me get rid of yet another spam bot in our Twitch side. Be gone. It's not likely, but it is possible, just to make that perfectly clear. I don't think that, there's a lot of gestation on X about him possibly going to jail for being held in contempt. And yeah, I'll say that's a possibility. The judge can rule, if he continues to go down this road, that he can be held in jail until he purges himself of the contempt and, present that documentation so that, garnishment proceedings can continue. I just think it's highly unlikely that a judge would do that. It's just not likely. Because again, it's a civil proceeding. There's nothing precedent. There's no like pendency that needs to happen. Like, this isn't discovery on an ongoing case. This is post-judgment discovery. So, I mean, they could, but again, I don't think it'd be particularly likely that they will. In the meantime, though, Mr. Fishback apparently had someone allegedly, oh gosh, stop it, allegedly try to set his house on fire. I would like to, brief moment here, I would like to point out how much I hate Windows 11 and how it has the little top bar thing like Apple does. So when I try and drag it up here because I want to drag things, it brings down that drop down and then tries to like reposition everything. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. Stop. Fucking stop. Yeah. So allegedly someone tried to set his house on fire. I'm no arson expert, and I'm definitely no felony expert, which is what this kind of arson's trying to set someone's house on fire is. But usually if I'm trying to actually, threaten someone or set their house on fire, I don't set the shrubs in their front yard next to the sidewalk, or is that the street there? Yeah. So I usually, you would think the person would not set the bushes in their front yard near the sidewalk or the street on fire. They would go up and try and, set the house on fire. Like, I don't know about you, but if I'm going to commit felony arson, has faulty denounced the fire yet? No. Good catch on that joke. But usually if I was going to commit felony arson, I would not set a bunch of like brush in the front yard on fire. Yes, I would like to go to prison for burning down James Fishback's shrubbery. This is something you would do if you want to be able to, go on X, say, and, say, oh my goodness, people are threatening me. Look, they set my lawn on fire. Oh my God, guys. I also wasn't the only person to reach that conclusion. I'm just saying. Yeah, well, there I am right there. When I think of committing felony arson, trying to threaten someone, I also just set some brushes in front of their house on fire rather than the actual house or something with real property value. Pulte will send you a 50-year mortgage maturity. Yeah, 30-year mortgages. But yeah, that's a little tall to be James, I think. Someone needs to work a little bit on their photoshopping or chat GPT work. Oh my goodness. I don't know who works the free press, but this is some atrocious stupidity. He flirts with anti-Semitism and calls his black opponent a slave, and he may be the future of the Republican Party, writes River Page. I mean, if that's true, there's never been a greater advertisement to never vote Republican again. If this guy is the future of the Republican Party, that's fucking terrifying. Just gonna throw that one out there. The Fishback keeps getting funnier. Florida law requires governors to live in the state for 7 years, but he's been claiming taxes of primary resident in DC, where he has voted. He's not even eligible. See, this has recently come out, and I find this fucking hilarious. So, Dude Bro has been living in DC, has a primary residence in DC, has been paying his taxes there, and has taken tax credits in DC, which makes him ineligible to run for any elected position in Florida, which is just hilarious. But, you know, there may be a reason why he is getting all of these. Why I let anti-Israeli protesters interrupt my talks. Yeah, that was a clip from that article. I think there's another one. Oh, no. So we may have a reason, though, why, you know, the free press is really hip to writing articles about James Fishback. And it just might be because of this. This was part of the discovery that was released on the Greenlight Capital stuff. Let's see here. Oh, he's got the case number blocked, but I'm pretty sure this was from the discovery in the Florida litigation where he is being, you know, where all the garnishment and stuff is going on. But we see that he's had a message with someone with an attached URL with the screen cap for an email that I can't quite read because it's too small. But, I mean, you go to this docket number on the case, which is docket ID 74, Exhibit 35. And then you can look at this. So he's basically directing his minions to email tips at the FP.com, which is the Free Press's website and email address, for their tip lines for articles. And email tips at the FP.com from this Anon account. So he is directing people to use an anonymous account to contact the Free Press to try and write articles about him. Great short piece by Fishback. We desperately need a follow-up where describes exactly. Oh man, that is just some horrible English. I get that this is supposed to be like a text, but I feel attacked. Where describes exactly what's gone wrong with the past debates. Email tips at the FP.com from the Lopez account. So they have multiple sock puppet accounts to send tips to the Free Press to get more press coverage for Fishback during his activities. And this was going on during the Greenlight Capital stuff. Imagine how much it's definitely going on since he's running for governor of Florida. Again, there is nothing legitimate about James Fishback. He is a complete fraudster. Then it really gets good. It really gets good. So I think it was Friday, or was it Sunday? He had a rally for his supporters in front of, I think, his house. This is someone pointing out a clip from it. We'll get to it here in a second, where he basically pulls out a gun. And I think this
Look,
is
if you want to disagree with me or our campaign, I welcome that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So this was the clip that Mike was talking about that I have on my channel. This was from that live event. And The dueling personalities of James Fishback.
Look, if you want to disagree with me and our campaign, I welcome that. But I don't welcome, and we can never tolerate, political violence or intimidation in this country. It is unacceptable. There is no place for it. I don't want to tell you what my response is going to be if someone threatens our campaign. I'm going to show you. Can I do that? Absolutely.
Yeah, and to be clear, zero people have threatened his campaign. The closest we've come to hearing anything is the alleged arson in front of his house who burned down a few shrubs in his front yard. All right. Which, again, just gives me more credence to the idea that this was entirely staged, because that happened. And then directly after, at this rally, he's like, let me show you what we're going to do to people who threaten us. Get the fuck out of here.
If you threaten our campaign,
Gotta love that mic feedback.
if you lay hands on a single one of our volunteers, if you come back to this home and our staff, our volunteers are working hard, we're not waiting for the police.
Oh.
We're going to shoot you with an AR-15, sight on scene, 5.56. Yeah! That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's what came next was he got banned on, oh, that's a little ahead of the script, I guess. Yeah, this is another one from here, from Media Mainstream, where he basically found a hot mic after the event where the gun wasn't even James Fishback's. It was one of his campaign volunteers who'd let him use his AR-15. Like Fishback didn't actually own an AR-15. So no, I used to take calls for the NRA donations, and this sounds like a script for one of those calls. I know, right? Yeah. Well, and here's the thing that's really dangerous about this. Well, first of all, the idea that he's all about, we don't like political violence. He is so against political violence. Just, if you believe him. But in the second breath is like, if someone threatens us, we're going to shoot them dead. We're not calling the cops. Well, first of all, like anyone who talks about, like self-defense training, like even like if it's guns or if it's just like personal, like martial arts, it's not just about learning how to defend yourself. It's learning when you can use force and to what level you can use force. If someone is threatening you, they haven't actually done anything, like shooting them dead is excessive force, and you will go to prison for that. You can use no more force than is reasonably necessary at that time. So like that's what's crazy about this. It's just like the idea we're totally a peaceful campaign, but you say mean words at us and we'll shoot you dead. Safety classes for guns. I know, right? Oh, for guns. Yeah, safety classes for guns. Maybe that works too. Safety classes for Huns, people who like just are rabidly about violence.
My platform is really simple.
Okay, this one is also pretty funny. I get that he was trying for a joke here to lampshade, but like this is hilarious.
My platform is really simple. If we do anything over 4 years, and then hopefully after that you rehire me for 4 more years, we do one thing, and that is we keep Florida, Florida. As Jeb Bush would say, please clap.
Nobody claps, so he had to fucking lampshade it. Like as Jeb Bush would say, please clap. Look, referencing the joke doesn't help the fact that they didn't clap. Oh my goodness. This guy's the best. But yeah, he got his video removed from TikTok, and as like I showed in that short, Like, yeah, you threatened violence. Of course they were going to take you down. And then after that, he got a temp ban from, he got a 24-hour suspension from X, which, like, for threatening violence, that's pretty light. Like, usually taxi sounds. Usually when you threaten violence on X, you get a whole week, a 7-day suspension. He was only gone for 24 hours. And of course, all of his fucking trolls on X and all of his sycophants were basically going, oh my goodness, it's political suppression. They're trying to silence James Fishback, a candidate no one fucking knows about. It's the Jews. Fucking. Yeah. And of course, we got here like this guy who.
Half now. All right. So.
Stoner bro.
Today is James Fishback has lost access to his X account, and you could say we saw this coming, but it looks
and
like...
you can see it. I'm not doing the whole 17 minutes, but you can see up here James Fishback, candidate for Florida governor, censored on X. The same day, Big Tech announces $5 million donation to his opponent, Bryant. Just make it stop. This is so fucking dumb. Absolutely dumb. Yeah, he got a 24-hour ban for a joke, a really bad joke. And of course, you know, we can't go far with James Fishback with just a little sprinkle of anti-Semitism, just doing a light anti-Semitism. If I win, we'll make sure to pull Florida out of every tie to Israel that we have, because you know that's the new meal ticket, is pandering to fucking the worst people ever. That's how you get elected. Let's switch things up here before we move on to our next topics, because we're moving on from politics. We're gonna leave it behind. We're already kind of behind. Well, I mean, we're not behind schedule because, like, I didn't have a lead-in topic. This is just part of the mainstream stuff. All right, politics, be gone. Our next one may take up a little bit of time. We'll see, because there are some legal filings involved with this one, but it is hilarious. BitBoy versus Kevin O'Leary, 2.8 million defamation ruling ends crypto pumper era. I don't know if I'd say that, but in the latest knock for Ben Armstrong, the controversial influencer formerly known as BitBoy, a court has ordered him to pay nearly $3 million to Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary. A federal judge handed down the $2.8 million default judgment after Armstrong failed to defend himself against claims of harassment and defamation. We're going to take a look at that, because that sounds pretty fucking funny to me. So I want to, let's look at the complaint really quick. We're not going to linger too long on this, but I just want to see what this is about really quick, and then we can skip ahead to the default judgment. Armstrong's empire collapse. Okay, so they're going to give us the whole fucking backstory. How about not? Armstrong wages a defamation campaign. Beginning on March 2025, Armstrong used his private X Twitter handle, Ben Armstrong's X, to wage a campaign of harassment against O'Leary and his wife. Oh, Jesus. Over the course of about a week, Armstrong fired off over 10 tweets accusing O'Leary and his wife of murder and paying millions to cover up their role in the murder. What? What? The defamatory posts that are the subject of O'Leary's defamation case and cause of action are summarized in a post below. Armstrong launched his defamatory campaign on March 17, 2025. On that day, he posted the following: "You guys think I'm kidding about all this stuff and all the claims. There's a reason my life is actually in danger. Kevin O'Leary has already verifiably murdered one couple in Toronto." Oh my. What are you doing, bro? on March 19th. Committing doesn't everybody think it's weird that I've been publicly calling Kevin O'Leary TV a murderer, and yet not a single word or legal action? Well, that got fixed real fast, buddy. It's almost like they can't, because a lawsuit would open up their actual crimes and they know it. Oh, he wasn't. I wouldn't be Mr. Wonderful when someone's shooting out shit like this on the internet about me. 10 minutes later, in a clear escalation, Armstrong tweeted again, this time publishing O'Leary's private cell phone number and encouraging the public to harass him. Holy fucking shit. Please tell me they redacted that. I don't see it on there. I'm going to assume they did. Have you ever wanted to call a real life murderer? Now you can. Kevin O'Leary is waiting for your call. Oh. I read that this was what happened on in that article before the show, but I hadn't actually read the complaint. And wow, that is a choice, dude. That is a choice. Grok, explain this absurd claim. Well, okay, I'm assuming this is the email where they published, and no evidence. Like clockwork, Armstrong was back at it again next morning on March 20th. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's right. I was forced to delete the murderer's phone number by X. I was in X jail for 12 hours. The key to getting out of a hole is to put down the fucking shovel first. Just, what are you doing, my bro? What the actual? How about another free day, Kevin O'Leary? Do you ever think about the couple you murdered? Oh, he's just, wow. And it just keeps going. Mr. O'Leary faces no charges, and a Canadian court exonerated Mrs. O'Leary after carefully reviewing the video evidence. On August 24th, 2019, the O'Leary's boat tragically collided with another vessel, resulting in the death of 2 people. Linda O'Leary was driving. Okay, that's what this is about. She was not impaired at the time of the incident. She was a highly experienced boater, operating the vessel cautiously and with due care and attention. Tragically, the collision occurred with a completely unlit vessel, operating in violation of basic safety standards on a moonless night, making it virtually invisible. He's not charged with impaired driving or alcohol-related offenses. After a 13-day trial in which the Canadian court heard extensive testimony, Linda was acquitted of the regulatory charge. Wow. Okay, so yeah, they're gonna get them on one. So 1 count defamation per se, 2 counts defamation per se, 3 counts defamation per se, 4 counts defamation per se, 5 counts. 6 counts. 7th count publication of private facts for the phone number. Yeah, that'll do it. Is Armstrong related to Ethan? I don't know if you have you seen his unraveling since he lost control of that crypto show of his? Like he went on a big spiral down. I think the last time we talked about him was like a year ago, when he might have been even a little longer than that, when he basically like pulled up to someone's house with a gun, wasn't it, or something like that? It's been a while, so my memory on it is fuzzy. And basically had the cops called on him. So I mean, I can get where you'd get that idea from. So we got a transcript of the evidentiary hearing. That'll be juicy when that comes out. So why did we get a default? So we got a default judgment, and he moved to try and set aside motion to unseal documents for viewing plaintiff's attorney only Kevin O'Leary. Response and opposition sealed motion to set aside default judgment. Plaintiff's opposition to defendant's motion to set aside default judgment. Armstrong's motion should be denied because the record reflects the opposite of good cause. To establish good cause, to set aside a non-final default judgment, the defendant must find and provide a good reason for failure to respond, and must show a meritorious defense and lacking prejudice. Yeah. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and is omnibus board the defendant's motion to set aside. So we'll just go to this because this will have both sides. This case before the court. Go the fuck away. Upon plaintiff Kevin O'Leary's motion for default judgment, on July 14, 2025, the court granted the motion in part and scheduled an evidentiary hearing on the issue of damages, which was held October 30th. Findings of fact. Which is a law, applicable law on damages, general damages per se, session, mental anguish award, general damages. I just want to see defendant's motion to set aside judgment. This is what I wanted. On January 9th, 2026, defendant filed a motion to set aside default judgment. Plaintiff filed a response in opposition. ECF number 36. As defendant concedes here, he was served with a complaint. Oh no, that's not a good sign. You were served with a complaint, you didn't show up. Ooh, we're already working with some bad facts for your motion to set aside default judgment, my dude. Only reason I bring up if they are related, Corax, is because both are the kings of hassling folks, it seems. Yeah, we got some Ethan stuff later when we get to the meme stock stuff, but yeah, both of them are definitely play that game. There's a certain amount of unhinged, though I would say that Ethan is less so unhinged than little Mr. Crypto or BitBoy here. Accusing people of being murderers with zero facts and then posting their phone number to social media. Well, I take that back because he allegedly posted Adam Aaron's phone number and instructed his followers to contact, Mike, you may have a fucking point there. Both Ethan and Mr. Armstrong kind of have the same MO, if you know what I mean. Defendant argues his failure to respond was not due to willful neglect or disregard for judicial proceedings. Rather, his failure to respond was due to two extraordinary circumstances beyond his control: his incarceration and serious mental health conditions. Shock and surprise at the second half of that. I never would have been able to guess that he has some serious mental health issues. Dude is death spiraling fast. As the defendant acknowledges, despite his incarceration, he managed to file a motion for continuance. Thus, defendant's assertion his mental health issues prevented his further participation. Specifically, defendant suffers from bipolar disorder. I would never have guessed. Narcissistic personality disorder. Color me shocked. And dissociative identity disorder. Wow, quite the list going on there, my dude. Defendant avers his mental health issues constitute excusable neglect. I don't know about that. And the default judgment should be set aside. Yeah, you having mental health issues is not an excuse for you to respond. If you have a specific event that would cause it, like say, someone has like uncontrolled spasms and they're physically incapacitated, then sure, cool. Yeah, that is a good reason. But simply saying, I occasionally have uncontrolled spasms, therefore I just can't respond. It's like, okay, you're going to need to be a little more specific than that. Plaintiff's response arguing that the record reflects willingness, not neglect. Armstrong had actual notice, received repeated filings and court orders, and then waited 285 days after service and 246 days after default to move for relief. Yeah. Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 60B1 state that the court may relieve a party or its legal representatives from a final judgment order or proceeding for mistake, inadvertentness, surprise, or excusable neglect. To establish mistake, inadvertence, or excusable neglect under Rule 60B1, a defaulting party must show that 1, it had a meritorious defense that might have affected the outcome, and granting the motion would not result in prejudice to the non-defaulting party, and a good reason existed for failing to reply to the complaint. Here, defendant has failed to establish excusable neglect. Critically, defendant argues setting aside the default judgment would not unduly prejudice O'Leary, as the damages hearing has not yet occurred. To the contrary, a full evidentiary hearing was held on October 30th regarding damages. Whoopsies. Thus, setting aside default judgment would cause undue prejudice to plaintiff. As plaintiff points out, he spent many hours preparing motions for default judgment, expert reports, drafting liability decisions, and participating in a full evidentiary hearing on the damages. Moreover, while courts occasionally rely on illness or disability of a party or attorney when finding excusable neglect, these cases involve extraordinary circumstances such as a sudden, unexpected, or catastrophic illness, or the party has pointed to specific facts and circumstances, like I said, demonstrating why the illness or disability caused them to miss the original deadline. Illness alone is not a sufficient basis for setting aside a judgment. While the defendant cites two various mental health issues as the basis for his failure to respond, he has failed to provide specific facts and circumstances demonstrating why the illness or disability caused him to miss the original deadline. Moreover, defendant sought a continuance despite the same mental health issues purportedly preventing him from participating further. Conclusion, accordingly, it is ordered to adjudicate as follows. Plaintiff Kevin O'Leary is awarded damages in the amount of $2.8 million against the defendant, consisting of $750,000 in mental anguish damages, $78,000 in reputational damages, and $2 million in punitive damages. Defendant's motion to set aside default judgment is denied. Final judgment will follow. The clerk shall close the case. Yeah, that'll do it. That will do it. I guess this is a good time as any to talk about some crypto stuff.
I've gathered you all here today to listen to the sentencing.
Just some quick shotgun stuff really quick. I don't want to linger too much on that. It's a really bad look of coffee sold there. Can we maybe move there? There, that's a little better. Sorry, my dude. Just want to briefly point out that he does have video going over the conclusion of the Safe Moon situation that he had originally reported on, as the CEO of Safe Moon's getting 8 years in prison. Probably the funniest thing so far is we've got Sam Bankman-Fried doing something very interesting. He's going to try and request a new trial. And also he's going to do this pro se, which is always an award-winning strategy as a criminal defendant to suddenly decide you want to do something pro se. You can ask Ethan how that works out. Not usually well. he's had some W's, but they've been mostly L's. If you want to do, you should get legal counsel. That's all I'm saying. We also got this article from Forbes. Binance whose founder was pardoned, now holds 87% of Trump's stablecoin. Well, what do you know? Just more of the same, more insider dealing with the Trump administration. Just gravy. Absolutely gravy. This one is interesting. If you're looking for a side job or needing, some of that hustle money, apparently Hollywood is, setting up a bounty hunter program that if you see AI generated content that, violates their IP and their copyrights and trademarks and things like that, why don't you give them a ring? They may, toss you a few dollars. How much was it? I think it was it's not really worth it. You're gonna have to kick out some more cash. It's like up to $2 or more on per successful submission. So yeah, I have a feeling that if you want that program to be successful, you might want to at least put another zero behind it. Just some friendly advice. Especially since we got this article. I don't usually bring Reason in on this, but I thought this was an interesting one that we have his Grok AI, I guess, being sued for Blade Runner stuff, infringing on that copyright. So that's also kind of interesting. And I don't know who this needs to be told to. I would have figured that this was just common fucking sense. But your discussions with the AI chatbot of choice are not privileged. If you ask it legal questions, those can be subpoenaed. So seek advice from an actual legal professional instead of using an AI chatbot. Just some friendly advice between you and me. I hope none of you actually had to have that conversation, but, just going to throw that out there. This is just because it's funny. I don't know how many of you saw the Epstein hearing with Pam Bondi from this week, where she was saying the Dow Jones is above 50,000, so, you should stop caring about pedos. The market heard and became the hero that we needed. Because directly after that hearing, the Dow just fucking dropped like a rock. Oh, the heroes that we need now. We also got an update on the Ty Lopez case that we had mentioned. I'd say it was a couple months back now, where it looks like that there is an FBI probe now. On top of that, let's see if I can go away. So there is an FBI probe now, but it does look like, where was it? They're in settlement talks with the SEC, so I have a feeling that's probably going to conclude with a lot of money that he's going to have to shell out. But at least that is being handled for him. This one was an interesting one. I would suggest you go watch the whole video because In the Money is a pretty good content creator. I know last week I had planned on talking about it with Amy, but she wasn't able to make the show, about Novo Nordisk suing Hims and the apparent, like to start off, the reason why we are having this conversation is because since the administration is basically playing insider baseball with the legal system, anytime the government does something, you immediately question why the government's doing it instead of just being able to assume that it's just government doing government things and, punishing crimes and stuff like that. So when the FDA decided to sue Hims over some of its products, the first thought was, oh, well, of course, this has to be some sort of insider baseball for Novo Nordisk. However, this video by In the Money, I think, goes over some of the key things that literally some of the stuff that Hims is doing is not best practices in the health industry, number one. I mean, that I kind of figured was obvious news about Hims in general. but also that some of its product combinations are not exactly safe, and that, you know, maybe some of these product lines, given him's, you know, market, it's a business model, shouldn't be dealing with at all, especially stuff like testosterone replacement therapy, where because of the medical condition that In the Money has, and his brother too, if I remember correctly, they are on hormone treatment therapy where they are given extra testosterone. And that he talked about how it took a lot of time and work with his doctor to dial in the right amount of testosterone. And, you know, using some telehealth, you know, thing like Hims, is, especially when they're mixing and combining different drugs that you probably shouldn't be mixing. Like they said that they had some sort of testosterone replacement drug that also was mixed with Viagra. Like, why? So I just wanted to give the other side to that story, and that maybe this might be an instance where, no, actually the government is, you know, going after something that they should go after. But again, the reason why we have to have these discussions about, you know, is the government doing something it should be doing, is because it hasn't even been 2 years, and this administration is doing stuff to benefit itself using the organs of government. And so instead of being able to go, oh, the FDA is suing someone, they probably deserve it because they're doing something wrong or immoral or illegal, you know, we can't trust the government that's what they're doing. It's fucking ridiculous. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out there, because I thought that would be a good follow-up to the kind of the open-ended discussion I had last time, because you know, Platinum wasn't really able to, you know, wasn't prepared to handle that discussion. I didn't have Amy there, and I just was like, this is a thing, and I didn't want to just leave it as there was no back and forth discussion where we just said, hey, the government sounds like it's in bed with, you know, Norvis, without coming back and being like, you know, maybe it probably isn't. Here's the other side to that story, because we couldn't really have a discussion on it. But that's it for our mainstream topics and everything like that. It is now time to talk about meme stocks, meme stock grifters, and a bunch of other stuff like that. Starting out, I do have an update on something of note. We do have an update on the Houston Wade case. Nothing too particularly major, just some changes to the court dates. Last time we talked, this court date was actually on the first week of March. If I remember correctly, it was like the 3rd. But they have got this new omnibus hearing that was scheduled for the 19th, which is next week. I think it's next Thursday. I'm going to try and do it. It is 9 a.m. Pacific time, so that'd be 11 o'clock here, noon Eastern. So I may be able to listen to it over my lunch break. We'll see how it goes. And then I'll try and report back, either do an edited video or wait till the weekend to talk about it. And try and get us an update on that on this one, because I did miss that one hearing on the 27th. So yeah, that was important, because that's where we got the continuance. Yeah, order setting omnibus hearing for the 19th, and then moving the trial date from the 3rd to the 23rd. So that one, I plan on still getting that date on the 23rd off to listen to the hearing live. Of course, since it's a court hearing, I can't live stream it, but I'll at least be able to communicate with you all and talk about it. So we'll see how it goes. But that's the update in the Houston Wade case. Nothing super exciting, but that's usually how it is. All the exciting stuff happens at the beginning, and then it's just waiting for a court date. Not a whole lot new going on there. We do have a lot new going on in AZRH, the song that never ends, as it were. as we talked about briefly before I, pull that stuff up, as I talked about last time when we were going over AZRH, I had an extra about it because we learned about the lawsuit that happened. Let me pull that one up because I'll probably have to. Hey, we have not had any new filings on this lawsuit yet. Supposedly, Josh said that he had a settlement, but then like the price crashed. Like it was crazy how things went down. There we go. It's crazy how things went down because as soon as we reported on this new, well, I didn't report on it. I think Oil Mutt found it first, and then I started going over it, and I did a live stream over it. I believe it was Monday. The first day that the news came out, the day after, it was down. AZRH was down. The low was down 25%. I think it closed down 21%. And then the day after, as the news started pushing through, it was down 45%. And it's done a soft tick, dead cat bounce. But yeah, AZRH not looking good. It's basically shed half its price over 2 days. So that's the situation with that. As far as the update on what happened after we broke the news that they're getting sued because Josh Cohen decided to, I almost said Ryan Cohen. That was pretty bad. It would have been pretty bad. Josh Cohen basically transferred his debts for buying the ticker from Bilzerian to the company, and now the company was trying to collect on that debt. So we don't know what they're going to do since the price is degraded so much. So the whole death spiral financing thing probably wouldn't work out. And that's probably why they're having to rework the settlement, because they didn't expect the price to completely fucking collapse down to 30 cents. I think it's setting at 33, 34 cents now. Might be a little bit more, a little bit less, but about that range. We also learned that, and this may have changed since the 10th, that Cohen was late filing the December production with the Texas Railroad Commission, and is supposed to be filed January 31st. And so e-filing shut off. He'll have to do it in person. Then Kyle did a whole article on what we had talked about with the deal, where it breaks down the whole steps of the deal and how it changed over the process of the deal, where it started out as like it was $110. It was $115,000, and how as he failed to pay it, the cost and amounts kept ballooning out until and also the language got harder and harder for him to weasel out of, until finally they dumped it all on the company. It's a great article that really breaks down, if you don't understand some of the legal complexities going on with that thing, it helps break down what happened there. So I think it's a pretty good read. The only part that it didn't get to was, and I brought this up, I think, because my live stream, I'm pretty sure, happened the same day he made this article. And so he wasn't aware of the whole section 3A10 mentioned, where, Josh posted it, and Kyle was pretty much like, lol, they're so fucked now, because I mean, yeah. So then we also learned that we're starting to get the MMT style rumors, the MMT style rumor mill going, where now we've got baggies basically being like, oh, Diamondback's going to buy, or, all these oil companies are going to buy into it. Like, it's the same problem that happened with MMTLP. These assets were available prior to Josh buying them. If Diamondback or any of these oil companies actually wanted the assets, they could have just bought them themselves. They didn't, though, which should be your first clue as to the hustle here. We also, what was learned about from the the lawsuit coming out was that all the time while Josh was having these filings, he said that he'd purchased these shares from the two officers at Belzarian, who are the beneficial holders, and Belzarian Holdings, and then made it sound like these were paid for in full, and that he had full ownership of the shares and all that stuff. But as we've learned, he had a debt obligation that he hadn't paid back and a promissory note, which should have been disclosed, because like the whole part of the deal was, if you don't pay this, then we get to unwind the transaction and the company is ours again, and the ticker and all of that stuff. And they don't have to compensate for, whatever you had paid, paying that back and things like that. Those were in the terms. So what should have been disclosed in this company filings was, hey, I still owe this amount and all this stuff here. There's a risk that the company could get unwound. And, oh, by the way, I still haven't paid it. And here are the new terms and everything. But at no point did Josh disclose any of this. In any of those filings, he makes it sound like that he had those shares free and clear, which, for those of you playing at home, is kind of illegal. That is a material misstatement, and he would need to restate all of the company's financials, updating that information, which is kind of a little late now, but there's that. Also, his newest filings would need to update the fact that on January of this year, the company took possession of the debt, and they're now the ones that owe it, which is a considerable liability for the company. All of this, like the fact that that the company took over the debt and he didn't disclose it in whatever the OTC equivalent is of an 8K, or do some sort of press release saying that, hey, the company's taking over this debt, it's kind of fucking shady, especially since it was between reporting periods. Like there's so much of this whole transaction that has happened that is just despicable, as far as to how shareholders were treated because of this. We also learned that we have switched from Josh Cohen's mom defending him on X to Josh Cohen's fiance now defending him on X. Multimillionaire Josh Cohen could have just paid $210K to clear this debt. He incurred a $500 per day interest instead. He now owes, and now he and AZRH own, well, it's just AZRH now owns $630,000. Says the guy whose daddy still pays for a cell phone bill, he gonna be paying Josh's commissary. But yeah, we also Mission Permgen Vision. So yeah, apparently we can't. We forgot that Permian has an I, not a J in it. Should have probably double checked that before sending that one to the press to be printed for merch. This is just further proof that this is not a serious outfit going on here. And it's just kind of absolutely hilarious on so many levels. At this point is where I'm going to be taking a few pot shots, because, I mean, they're well-deserved. I love that John Hartronet, number one cuck John Hartronet, our favorite AMC goon, spent all this time basically trying to throw me under the bus to Josh and defend this guy. Oh yeah, that got deleted by the post author. Yeah, I've had similar issues with him. Burr, 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 burr. And of course, promoting Zieghal Michael, and, you know, basically defending Wildcat and everything. And now we've learned that, you know, Josh is a giant scumbag grifter and all the things that he accuses Adam Aaron of, except, you know, Josh actually did it. So way to go, John, again, with your great, you know, skill of inserting your foot in your own fucking mouth. Let me get up to speed here. I gotta close out some tabs. That wasn't supposed to be there. We'll move that. I'm pretty sure that goes down here for now. Oh yeah, that's why that was there. Oh yeah, brief update. That's why that was there. I did finally get a response back from YouTube on this yet another attempt by John to try and flag my video using his name, John Hartronet. You know, God forbid that he voluntarily made public BT dubs. Yeah, YouTube once again rejected his frivolous fucking claim. So, you know, eat a bag of dicks, John. From here, we get to move on to AMC and one of our favorite AMC grifters in Marantz. This one I probably should do a short video on later. I do have it to clip this specific one out, but he specifically said that GameStop has the best, I want to say there, GameStop is the most profitable company per square foot. Sorry, I wanted to get the exact wordage correct, which is incorrect. Well, let's throw out these retailers that are you know, not comparable in my opinion, like Rolex and Tiffany's. Like, yes, indeed, that would prove his point incorrect, but let's at least give him some fair chance. Like Apple stores, that's roughly close. Costco, that's a little different, but also makes the argument easier because Costco also sells groceries and things like that aren't big ticket items, and they're even below Costco at $600 per square foot, whereas Costco does at least $2,000 per square foot. Apple stores are like $10K per square foot. Like, we didn't even get Best Buy in here, and I have a feeling it's above GameStop as well. In fact, I think it was mentioned in the comments. But this is the kind of lying that Marantz does quite often. And it's why he absolutely hates when people point out that he's a lying scumbag piece of shit. This one, we'll see how far we go down on this one. Because apparently, from my understanding, see, this is the thing. I don't usually watch Marantz unless he pulls up on Meltdown. Because I really don't care about him that much. But when he does show up, boy, it is unbridled idiocy. This one, I'm glad he has here his phone screen cap of Meltdown. I'm glad he has gotten rid of the delusion that he doesn't watch Meltdown 24/7, waiting to find people who make fun of him. This was in response to the video where his Reddit, like the people on his Discord, had basically were like saying that the rocket ship for GameStop was going to take off and it was going to explode in Tony De Niro's face, and then made it into a gay joke. And so we were making fun of how that they were basically treating the idea of being gay as some derogatory thing, and making fun of that him having these sort of like homosexual fantasies about Tony De Niro, and also that they often use, being gay among other things, including going after Hannah's, gender and such, as points of insult to go after people. But this should be fun because watch how Marantz tries to fucking spin that. Turn this back on.
If that's what you choose, what's wrong with being gay?
I love that. What's wrong with being gay? As if me and my entire user base doesn't constantly go after people for their perceived sexual preferences and gender identity. Dude, it's always funny because Marantz and his Discord are absolute bigots when they think no one is watching. But the minute that they think that they can get some PC edge acting like some woke policeman on the internet, suddenly when they can try and use it as a weapon against someone else, suddenly it fucking matters. Get the fuck out of here, fucking clown.
If that's what you choose to be.
The key isn't Marantz, isn't that people don't think that it's all right to be gay. That wasn't the point of the conversation. I know you're trying to project your bigotry onto other people, but the point of the matter was your base, your Discord members, your viewer base was basically making a joke at someone's expense, where the punchline was basically, he's gay. So, you know, maybe remove the plank from your own eye before adjusting the speck in someone else's.
I mean, this is very childish, Tony. This is what you go to the meltdown to talk about.
Can we install Marantz in the nearest AMC theater to where he lives? He would make the perfect movie theater projector.
That we're gay here. And that's a problem, as if that were a bad thing.
No, again, misconstruing what the item of conversation was. The item of conversation was your viewers basically making a he's gay joke.
A good thing, bad thing, I don't know. We'll go down. Noisy Corax, the next guy to type. I'm still laughing at the
Hi, I'm right. Hi. How you doing, guys? I made a Marantz video again. I wonder what he's ass hurt about. Let's get ahead of him and read this out. I'm still laughing at all this pent-up hate, even though you're long too, right? You just don't happen to believe in their dumb fairy tales they tell each other at night to feel less bad for ruining their family finances. The spin on this that he is about to deliver, priceless.
Up hate, even though you are long too, right? Long what? GameStop shares? This guy doesn't have a share that's long at all. That means you're holding it for over a year. He doesn't.
For tax purposes, to be clear. So he's trying to hold on to this little wedge. Long, as in you are long and not short the position or have no position. You own shares and are or will profit if the price of the share goes up. You are long. In the normal nomenclature of finance, that is what long is. He's trying to take the tax definition of long. You have a long position in a stock for tax purposes and have to pay less in capital gains tax if you've held it for a year or more. That's his little fucking spin that he's going to try and do to make it sound like Tony does not own GME. So he can play this fucking game of, oh, Tony's not long GameStop like I'm long GameStop. Fuck off. He knows exactly what I meant, and he couldn't figure out an argument, so this is what he's going with.
Have one share. Allegedly, he bought the bottom. Allegedly, guys, he hits the 52-week bottom every time.
That's not what he said.
You just don't happen to believe in their dumb fairy tales. They tell each other at night to feel less bad about ruining their family finances. Okay, let's establish a couple things, Noisy. Family finances? You don't have a family.
You don't have a family.
That's the first thing. So how would you know what's being ruined or not?
Well, you talk about it on the internet all the time about how you fuck up your own life, so I don't have to guess. You know, I take care of my house and where I live. I don't have to worry about some air conditioning unit that I don't manage falling through and busting up my office. Shit like that. You know, I actually put money into the things that matter instead of the things that don't matter. Like I figured the statement was self-obvious in what I meant.
We're pretty stable. We communicate pretty well. The whole group.
Yeah, that's why you two split up for a while. You communicate extra well.
And even through hardships and tough times, guess what we do? We don't sell. We're diamond hand. But what fantasies are you?
Thank you for making my fucking point. Thank you for making my fucking point. You know, I fuck up the rest of my life, but, you know, we still diamond hand strong. Do I need to say anything else? Corax versus Morantz, but we all enjoy seeing, I know. I try and avoid it because it's like punching down on the small child at the little kid's table.
Talking about the ones where GameStop's the most undervalued stock in the world. Yes, it's still true.
He thinks he's owning me, but really he's just digging a fucking deeper hole. I can name plenty of stocks that are more undervalued than GameStop. Dude, have you checked your PE ratio lately? Or even your EV to E ratio. It's pretty fucking atrocious.
True. The one where the perfect storm in the world is happening via GameStop and the manipulation of the market. The one that you spend all your time studying and talking about?
You're just making my point.
Or why are you guys in the Discord? If we're gay,
I'm not,
and you don't like that, and then we're fantasies, and we're
again, you are just trying so hard to try and spin your way out of this because you got caught. Dude is a clown. I did not buy the bottom on GameStop. More like, I know, right? Just over $20 and change. Yeah, that's the point I'm saying. Is like I've seen your live streams, Tony. I've been on them, and you may mark close to like where you bought in, maybe close to the bottom, or you know it may be a couple dollars give or take depending on the stock price or whatever. Like no one ever catches the literal bottom, or it's like really rare. But I don't think I've ever seen Tony claim that he's gotten the literal bottom. That's ridiculous.
We're just liars about everything. But yet you're pro GameStop, right? I'm supposed to believe in you, Mr. Pro GameStop. Both of you. Whom? Not you, Sonny. Never. Never you, Noisy.
What? Like, there's been times where I've been like, okay, that's kind of a cool idea that GameStop's doing, or things like that. We even talked, I prefaced with the idea that, GameStop's running basically a slot machine for little children, with the trading card thing being, questionable. It is pretty much gambling. I mean, it's the same problem that people have with loot boxes and things like that. But cool. They found something that was at least different and interesting and a unique business model. And I gave them props for that. We had a whole live stream and a video where we talked about that with Platinum on that live stream. So I've been able to acknowledge when GameStop does something good. I just wouldn't invest in it. It's not the thing that I invest in. I don't think that there's enough material value there to make it worth it. And that's where we're different, Morantz, because I can at least be intellectually honest about my beliefs. And, Morantz is yet another one of those people that every time his mouth fucking moves, he's lying.
But how about Tony? He has a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. Tony, why don't you ever show your position? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to dignify that with the response. We know.
Okay. I mean, for the longest time, you didn't show your position either, so I don't think that's the quite the burn you think it is.
How dare they put somebody on the Epstein files? No, I don't need to defend myself on that. No, they're just writing fairy.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Fairy tales. I already showed you. I already asked you. You'll never show a position worth showing. For whatever reason, you've made every trade the perfect way. You've never lost $1.
How long did he say? 51?
Let's keep reading. Tony, this is the giveaway for a lot of us. See, you have a platform. You have. I don't know. You make videos. But
yeah, we know you're clearly envious of his platform. It's kind of written into your entire video so far. We're only fucking 2 minutes into this. How much longer we got on this? Holy shit, 6 minutes. This feels like it's going on for 6 hours.
A paragraph that no one even cares to read. Got -3 votes. That's funny though. I'm just, look at this. I am long at just over a $20 basis. You're not long. You're a day trader.
Again. This is so dumb. This is like the pretzels that he is bending and twisting himself into to try and make this argument is just fucking hilarious.
Long is when your shares have been in your account for over a year. They have not been.
Only for tax purposes. Any other person that you ask in finance, if they're long, it means that they own the underlying security. Like, this is so fucking retarded.
Only for the speculative bet that the price gets some volatility if Cohen announces the use of cash. So how are you long? You literally...
Because he owns shares. Like, that's how that works. Like...
Just contradict what you said.
Okay,
And out.
What is it?
You said it's worth 3. I was there.
See, I'm
heard
already bored because he just runs in circles chasing his own fucking tail and says nothing meaningful. Like, this is what happens every time I watch a Morant's video. I just fucking get bored of him being a fucking idiot. Long over 12 months. Yeah.
They don't like that I despise the buy every day at any price narrative. Oh, no? You don't like dollar cost?
It has nothing to, like, dollar cost averaging is totally fine if you're buying an index like, say, Boo, or you're buying an actual good company like Apple or something like that. GameStop for the past 5 years has been driving itself sideways to down. Dollar cost averaging into GameStop is the stupidest fucking idea ever. So whatever. Like, volatility play is probably the best play that you're going to get on that. Unless something miraculously changes about the business model, which so far it hasn't. So, of course, the market's not going to price it in because, again, Cohen refuses to say literally fucking anything.
Averaging? You don't like a CEO that buys $20 million worth of shares? I get.
Which is why, like, he gets mad about how this perceived, the stock's being manipulated. It's like, well, like, he gives no forward guidance. Cohen gives no forward guidance, doesn't tell people what's going on with the company, doesn't tell what the company's going to do, won't say literally anything, won't hold earnings calls, barely says anything during shareholders meetings. Of course, the market is going to be pretty much flat about what they perceive this company's doing because all they get to do is look at backward-looking financials and have to sort of make their own guesses because the company won't tell them what they project they plan to do in the future. So you can't future price the company. So it gets basically the price that it gets based on current backward-looking information. So yeah, that's why it has such a low price to book, because why would we project some sort of forward multiple to this company when the CEO themselves won't tell us fucking shit?
I guess at a upper value because he bought at $21.50. I guess he paid too much. We're all bag holders here, Tony. Prove yourself. Don't just say shit. Prove it. Prove that we're bag holders. What was our boy Dynamite _41? He's got 80-something thousand dollars worth of GameStop shares. 3,300 shares. $21 cost average. Yeah, after 5 years of buying. 5 years of buying, 23.6.
See, there's the other shoe drops. The other shoe drops. After buying in for 5 years, that's why, like, that's the exact same thing that AMC baggies say. Oh, I've got a dollar cost average of $5 because I've been slugging my entire fucking paycheck into this stock, just eating my way down from the stupid price that I bought it at in the 30s and 40s before the reverse split. Like in a giant fucking sunk cost fallacy where you've basically put so much money in, you've made a huge amount of opportunity cost loss when you could have slugged that money into literally any index fund and been doing great. Like you could have even put it into fucking T-bills and been doing better.
60. Anybody ask what Roaring Kitty's cost average is? He's been buying for 5 years, 6 years. Is he the guy he should?
You want to know what else is funny about that? He ain't holding anymore. He made his bag and left you guys holding the fucking doors. The cops showed up.
Wouldn't be doing it either. Buying at any price. Narrative pushed on the clown channel. Well, it's better than being what you call us a clown channel. Why? Because we're gay. Again.
He's just so desperate to try and pound the table on that. Like anybody is buying his horse shit other than his fans. This is like listening to talk radio. Like you get these commentators that are like have absolute main character syndrome, banging on the table about fucking perceived slights and insults.
Or we're funny. What do you got against clowns? Now you're against clowns too?
Jesus Christ. I'm done with this video. Like, you were reaching that hard. Come the fuck on. What the fuck is this even? What in the actual fuck? For the record, I don't use the word bag holders. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised about Morantz putting words in people's mouths. Morantz spreading fear about the top AI companies. He's been wrong about since 2023. This should be good. Well, I guess since this fits to the screen nicely, we'll just let her rip from here.
Gross valuation that is happening across the board. Every company, there's only one that's being treated fairly, that's being treated undervalued, that's being pinned down, and it's called GameStop. That's it. GameStop has enough cash and optionality to take over the world. People don't believe that. They think they get their valuations of billions and billions and billions. When the water turns off, how's this fire going to burn? Oh, the water is CapEx. The water is CapEx, guys. When the CapEx stops, when Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Nvidia, Apple, Tesla, when they stop bullshitting, you're going to find out just what you don't have.
The idea that, like, I bet you he couldn't even describe the business model of most of those companies. Like, the NVIDIA thing is the one that I find to be the most hilarious, because NVIDIA's business model, yes, a lot of its growth has been in AI and this AI build out. But as far as that's concerned, of course, it's going to be it's going to be over earning until everyone's built out AI or however. But its earnings have tracked along with its price growth. So yeah, you may see a pullback in NVIDIA eventually, but that doesn't mean that NVIDIA is inherently a fraudulent company or a fraudulent business model. It just means that they were over earning. Google, I guess he threw that in there for like shits and giggles. Like, you're going to tell me that magically the world's biggest internet service provider, who not only, like, it's not just the AI stuff. This is a company that was growing at a rapid pace and has been consuming a whole bunch of the internet service industry. I mean, the platform that your dumb ass fucking is on is owned by Google. I don't know if you recall that, dipshit. That's just baffling to me. And Apple is completely reinvented in my personal opinion. I mean, some people may disagree, but Apple is the future of consumer grade electronics as far as your laptops and your desktops. Eventually, I mean, you can get custom gaming rigs that I assume will still use the setups that we use. But for most people who are buying computers simply to use for everyday tasks or for business reasons, or just, for your kid's laptop at home or desktop, it's going to be the exact kind of design Apple uses with the SoC, the system on a chip, where your RAM, your processor, your graphics processing unit is all going to be one chip. It's entirely more efficient, uses less power, runs on ARM. I believe it's ARM. Yeah, because they have their own ARM silicon and their own silicon that they make. Or, well, TSMC makes for them and they design it. Sorry, should clarify that. Just in case we weren't clear that I do understand the industry and this fat fuck sure as hell doesn't. So, like, Apple is an industry leader blazing a trail where it's become boring that every single new it's processors, like, so I think they're on M3 or M4 now, like, it has a consistent growth of power and performance that it's boring. It used to be that, Intel's performance on its desktops and laptops was inconsistent because Intel's was inconsistent, but now it's boring because they're consistently getting better and better and better. And he wants to talk about Apple being like just a fraud or something like that, or suggesting or insinuating that. Like, you can't take someone like that seriously. It either shows that they are willfully ignorant or just straight up ignorant about these industries and these sectors that he spends hours upon hours upon hours pontificating on. It's incredulous. I don't know how you can take someone like that seriously. I just don't. So one more video from him. Let's go.
I think I got this right. I think AI companies are going to find no value, and people are going to go back to the table, and whoever loaned them money is going to be on the hook for it, and they're going to need a handout, and they're going to need some funding, and they're going to need leadership and direction. And here, I know this guy who's really seasoned and talented. His name's Ryan Cohen. Maybe he has a plan.
Sure. Yeah, cool story, bro. Again, like, assuming, like, who knows what AI's future is at this point? I don't even know it. I'm not going to pretend to know it, even though I'm highly skeptical about AI and all of its use cases. But, like, this sort of consolidation happens in every industry. And these companies either go out of business and you get the handful of competitors that do succeed. So, like, again, it's not proof that it's fraud. All the companies in the world are going to beg Ryan Cohen to be their CEO. Yeah, I know. It's like, again, this is why I use the term fantasy fucking fairy tales. Like, these things that they tell themselves at night to say that they're not baggies. Honey, I didn't fuck up the finances. Just trust me. Ryan Cohen is going to save us all. We move on from cringe parents to cringe crypto bros who also like GameStop. This was I didn't mean to play the audio. This was someone's cringe AI slop fucking fantasy Super Bowl commercial from last weekend for GameStop. I'm impressed at how bad it is. That was kind of awful. I don't want to play that again, so that's the last shot of that you're getting. Again, with X Marketplace and its like clickbait stupidity, I know I shouldn't even acknowledge its existence, but here we are. A bank that operates the pension funds for, like, I want to say it's Norway, bought GameStop. Oh no, along with a bunch of other fucking companies that they won't mention, Like, who fucking cares? Like, they're making basically a market diversified account to protect their basically their fund. So of course they're going to own a bunch of. I'm glad Rothschilds is taking a gamble. Oh boy, I'm going to pretend like I didn't see that. But like, why are we pretending like this is such a big thing? And then of course we get this, which, oh my goodness, I know he screen capped Tony, but I'm pretty sure he's the top comment. Yeah, there we are. So breaking, Yahoo says GameStop fair value is $220. Let's go to Tony for the actual story on this. Holy fucking shit, this is so dumb. For those not in the know, this is not from Yahoo Finance. This is an AI article summarizing a retail trader's submitted narrative price. Yep. Yeah. You can go submit your own price target as well. For fun, I created one of a $420.69. Just so happens the gent with the $220 price target has 16 more votes. So that's what the AI article picks up as the most popular narrative. Oh, and for fun, go vote for my $420.69 price target. It'll make for some fun articles we can smile about. Just needs 16 more votes. I second that. In fact, everyone watching this live stream should go upvote. It should go like that just for the lulz. Because trolling idiots like X Market News sounds like a fun objective. Oh, it's that time. We've arrived. We've arrived. This one's actually entertaining. So we'll flip over to the it was Simply. Oh yeah, I know Simply Wall Street. Yeah, why does that even get into like stock feeds? I find that so dumb. It's clearly AI generated. I don't get it. Why does that get pulled up in like the press release news for companies? Like, is it just because they need more filler articles? I don't get it. Anyway, let's hear from Ethan. Okay, he's really slow about talking.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today is February 9th, 2026, 8:57 p.m. Welcome to our YouTube channel, AMC Lawsuits and Justice, Project Popcorn, The Scheme. Tonight, we have a quick update, everyone. We officially retained Leslie Akins, and this is an important step forward. Leslie will continue reviewing our statement of facts and related materials, begin outreach to additional attorneys for the potential formation of a legal team, and explore third-party financing options. We'll be uploading the signed retainer to the cloud so everything remains fully transparent and available for review. Thank you to everyone who supported this effort and helped make this possible. We're moving forward, and we're just getting started. If you'd like to get involved, you can email me at etanleibovitz18amc at gmail.com. And if you'd like to contribute to the cause, we've put together a campaign at Give, Send, Go, and we'll incorporate the link. It will be available in the video notes below. So
it like this video has been out for almost a week now, and it wasn't in the notes when I checked it and ripped it from YouTube. So yeah, and if it's anything like the funding that they have done in the past, it was not a whole lot. So I really want to know what this lady's retainer fee is. I've checked her website. She seems pretty professional. She does some like federal level work, but it's mostly state level work in California. So I'll be interested to see if this actually goes anywhere. I wouldn't hold my breath, but after Ethan doing literally nothing up to this point, to actually advance a lawsuit. In fact, up to this point, Al from Boston was the closest this group has come to actually having legal action in front of a court. It's nice. It's nice to actually see how their legal claims will maybe fare. Who knows? But yeah, I'm actually kind of interested to see if they actually pull things out, but I don't think it'll go very far because as I've already pointed out, the statute of limitations is expired. You knew all the claims and all the information that you had when the Delaware lawsuit happened back in 2023, which means your claims expired in 2025. Best of luck to you if something does go down, but I'm not exactly holding my breath. Speaking of which, I think it's maybe time that we talked about the recent AMC news that came out that got everyone crying. Maybe we should, that shouldn't have been there. This should have been the one that was there first. Oh, no, see, I've got everything in the AMC section out of order. Look at me. So, on the 9th, we got more dilution in a, let's see here, an offering that was issued by AMC. And if I remember, it was just like a direct registry offering, like at a set fixed price. Tony, I'm sure, will correct me if I'm being an idiot in the comments section, and we'll get to that. But yeah, this was prospectus supplement on February 9th for more common shares to be issued, which had everyone's jimmies rustled. We also got, I'm not a big fan of Charles Payne because he was busily, blowing Adam during the entire run up and everything like that. And now he's like feigning disappointment. Like, I don't see the point. Like, I get it. He has this, like, he's cultivated this meme stock appeal, this like retail investor appeal. And that's why Fox News keeps him around. But like this dude, I failed to see the appeal of someone who is so clearly a grifter like Charles Payne. That's just me. I like this fake, like, feigned indignation of, oh, I'm just so disappointed in Adam Aaron. I don't buy it at all. But then we got Ethan. Last time I think had one of his posts up, he basically was posting what was allegedly Adam Aaron's phone number. Where are all the con men? Where are all the con man Adam Aaron supporters? 12 cents now and diluting at the lows. This bitch could have raised. I love how he censors himself. Like, dude, you're on X. No one gives a shit. Be full ass. No half ass. Stop being the B asterisk TICH that you're being right now. Raised cash via rights offering here. Oh my God, the stupid rights offering thing. It has been almost 3 years. It'll be like, it's like February is when the lawsuit dropped. So it's been like, it has been 3 years, and he has still not figured out that a rights offering is still dilutive. Like, what rights are being offered? Like, I maybe I'll ask the comment section here. And we got 11 people between all the platforms, it looks like. What is a rights offering? What is the rights being offered in a rights offering? Like, if you can answer that question, please post it so that Ethan, who I know is probably watching this live stream, can see it and figure out what he has spent 3 years failing to understand. And we'll just leave it at that. Also, just a weird sidebar note. This fascination with trying to tie Adam Aaron to the Epstein files, even though there's like zero proof of it, is just cringe level shit. Like, okay, Leon Black is in there, but Adam Aaron isn't. And it's just hilarious how they're trying to do this backdoor thing of Adam Aaron is a secret Epstein pedophile. They've been doing it ever since the start of their little hate boner, and I just find it kind of fucking disgusting. And of course, Bam has comments restricted because he's a big pussy bitch. Also, please be more direct with your accusations. I really wish for you to be sued for defamation. Go fuck yourself. I'm not sure why I had that up. Is there... Aha! Another Tony post. I can't see that tiny font. And there's no way to zoom in on that image. But we do know that there was an 8K filed on the 13th that firmed up the Jan 29 agreement with the 2029 bondholders, which we weren't surprised about. We had heard talks about that and rumors about that in the press. So there's that. And, you know, Tony's saying that likely future details about the 2027 notes, which makes sense because they're coming due soon. It's less than a year. Time's a ticking. Also, gotta love Kevin Malone. Let's trim some of this down. Doop, 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 doop. Gotta love Kevin Malone pretending like he is some AMC baggy hero. Since becoming CEO of AMC Entertainment on January 4th, 2016, Adam Aron has made more in profit personally than the entire company. Don't ask Kevin Malone about the shady, scummy stuff that he's done with meme stock companies, because you know that would be kind of hilarious. Actually, I'm going to skip the Fannie and Freddie stuff so we can get, and we'll come back to that. I want to get to Kevin Malone's shenanigans. I don't know why I put those out of order, but here we go. Kabiko, I think where we last left off, Kabiko had pointed out that for no reason at all, I was thinking about Canadian securities laws that require holders of 10% of a class to issue over 10% of a class to issue a news release and file on Cedar Plus to report immediately each time their ownership decreases by 2% or more. Penalties can be severe, including disgorgement of loss avoided. Shareholders could also sue against him. So funny stuff that he is technically legally obligated to. Also, on the 10th, he was trying to push for a shareholder meeting. The day Kevin leaves his free voluntary zero pay. Dude, you were paid in compensated shares that you sold at a profit. And oh, by the way, still have a bunch of shares left. The total compensation amount that you got from share compensation was roughly calculated at about $1 million. So how about you shut the fuck up? Zero pay. Get the fuck out of here. But he's been trying to get a shareholder meeting. Apparently, no meeting has been announced. And there's not been much back from Kevin on that I've heard of, at least yet. We also had a quip on that same thing. Kabiko kind of clapping at him. This guy knows and respects Canadian laws. But, you know, it looks like that Malone is working on his next grift. So keep tight. We'll see if DVLT, you know, hires Kevin Malone to run his shady bear trap quasi securities fraud schemes again. So, you know, stay tuned. Oh, yeah, well, that's BBYQ stuff. So let's back up now that we've gotten here. So we got some news on the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac front.
The past few years.
That was kind of interesting. We'll see how this goes. First, we'll move to this screen and let's go over it.
In the coming weeks, I plan, and I'm sure the chairman's aware, we're going to be introducing legislation that would end the conservatorship of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, by codifying many of the reforms that have been accomplished the past few years, in particular, encouraging more credit risk transfers. Mr. Bright, thanks for being here today. From your perspective, would you agree that with the cap on their investment portfolios, increased capital standards, and the introduction of the credit risk transfers, Fannie and Freddie have become far less risky than prior to the financial crisis? And then how can we encourage more CRT further? How can we have that CRT further remove taxpayer risk and better utilize private capital?
So to answer your first question, undoubtedly they're less risky. Much lower leverage, much stronger underwriting standards, much more oversight, and as you point out, the use of CRT as an insurance vehicle to protect against predefined losses.
All right. So, yeah, if you heard the video correctly, it would seem that at least one congressman is planning to, or senator is planning to try and remove Fannie and Freddie from conservatorship. It says Republicans in this. Yeah, so Representative Scott Fryers, so a member of the House, said that a hearing the subcommittee that a bill would be put forth in the forthcoming weeks to end conservatorship. We have no idea what support looks like for that. And as far as we know, he's the only one doing it. So I'd be a little skeptical until I see what's actually coming forward. But looks like that, for all of Bill Pulte's posturing about what the president is going to do and the president's plan and all this stuff, it looks like Congress is the one actually taking the initiative on that. So we'll see. I'm still of the opinion that this, unless they really get into gear, I know that a year seems like a long time, but there is an election cycle coming up, and it doesn't look like the Republicans are going to do so hot. And if the Democrats do take power, that bill is DOA. So they've got until the end of this election cycle in November. I mean, I know the Congress isn't seated until the following January, but that puts a pretty tight timetable to make sure that this gets done. They could do it, but I wouldn't place bets on it. I know that there was a post. I must have deleted it. Oh, there. Yeah, Michael Burry says that he's added to his position in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So take that for whatever you want to believe that is, if that's important or not or whatever. But that's that situation. We are almost to the home stretch here. Oh, yeah. I'm glad I took a second look at that clock. I was like, I could have sworn it said 12. I'm like, we have not been going for 4 hours. Stop it right now. But it's 10:12, so I'm still good. I think 2 weeks ago we talked about the whole gala at Ramiz's place, and we had opined that they said following it that photos were going to be posted, and in between this last episode, the previous week where Platinum was on, there had not been photos, but in between then and now, this is the 6th. Let me look here. So yeah, they were dropped Friday, right before the show, so I must have missed them. The actual photos from the gala event were actually posted. You'll notice, aside from a wild Ian Carroll, I don't see a single fucking baggie to be found here, or any of the main characters we know about, which I think really should tell you what this event was. Anyone there? Wait, no. No one there I recognize. Beware the black van. Security coming out of the black van. Be careful, guys. Oh, my goodness. I think that's the chef. Yeah, okay. This just feels more like it was an event at Ramez's, uncle's, gallery, and then they just happened to hijack it and co-opt it for whatever the fuck they were doing, and people kind of showed up. But yeah, they finally posted the photos of it, so there you go. So we also had some hijinks from our game informer. You may notice that none of those photos I showed were from a yacht. So Game Informer asked about the yacht pictures for the meme lord $5,000 VIP experience, and if there was a link or anything like that, and he he got blocked. as was expected. Fun times. We also had like more. Oh, I don't really care about that. I will say that this picture is right for the right reason, for the right reasons, but not the right reasons that Sal thinks it's right. I mean, if you're gonna like, I would agree. Ryan Cohen and Donald Trump are kind of like the same, making big. I mean, Ryan Cohen hasn't really made big promises. He hasn't made any promises, but two airhead goofballs who don't know what the fuck they're doing, basically pretending and LARPing like they do know what they're doing. Seems accurate. In case you also didn't notice it or hadn't caught on to it, more bag on bag sucking off, where basically there was a spat fight before this space. Okay, so there was an X space that happened where Adabit is clearly been added on to the Bear Trap project to try and add notoriety and credence to that movie, because it's clear that they're trying to target now more of a GameStop focused audience rather than these Bed Bath and Beyond baggies. The problem with that situation is that none of the towel apes like that, and if you're going to try and appeal to the GameStop crowd, well, you're going to have to cut out a lot more of the towel ape stuff. So that ain't working so hot. So they had a little powwow meetup. We played some of it last night, and then there was a whole breakup process that we'll get into here. But apparently, are you only apologizing now after you found out I'm a producer of the Bear Trap movie? I did not see Whispergate. I heard about it. We briefly mentioned it because I think when I was skipping around last night, we accidentally ran into it, and I think it's fucking stupid, as with most baggy drama. I'm sure it's in the tabs up there that I've got listed out, but like there's some of this stuff that's like I feel like I'm losing IQ points just to try and keep up with it, and so I usually just avoid it. But I will mention that I would like to. They think Platinum was whispering the shares are canceled to Adabit during this. See, this is exactly what I said. It's so fucking dumb. I feel like I'm losing IQ points, and I know that that's probably what happened. That they try and prearranged something like that, because during the Pulte interview that I did, which I re-uploaded on this channel, they were in the comments section. Afterwards in the Pulte like cope space, which I'm pretty sure I also put up after that interview. They were saying, "Oh yeah, Platinum was down in the comments trying to like give cues to Noisy." Which, by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm really bad at reading the chat. I really am. People will know that that's a true fact every time Platinum has to remind me of its existence on normal live streams. The same with Amy, because I'll get engrossed in trying to run the show or do things like that or have a conversation that I'm usually completely oblivious to the chat. And I was completely oblivious to Platinum because I had my own notes, because unlike these baggies, I go into interviews prepared. And so I had a whole list of questions and everything that I wanted to talk about. I didn't need cue cards from the audience, just so we're clear. So like this whole Whispergate thing is just another extension of that Platinum Sparkles is this fucking evil villain constantly raining on their parade, and I find it just kind of fucking sad and a touch sexist. just it has some very it has some very misogynistic overtones. Not gonna lie. Oh. Yeah, so yeah, here we go. And then of course we had Rex, who basically pointed out that when the whisper happened, Jake 2B's fucking mic went off. So like I whatever. So also I would like to add a big citation needed as to this whole PP being a producer on the Bear Trap, because if you go to the website now, he's listed as in the featuring section with all the Bed Bath and Beyond grifters. Ian Carroll has a higher billing than PP in the credits. They're trying to push the Bed Bath and Beyond baggies out as much out of the production of this film as possible now, because they know it makes them look like a bunch of fucking idiots. So maybe he still is a producer, but something tells me his influence is not what he's trying to posture it is. So after the interview, everyone started blocking everyone. Adabet blocked PP, then and then he made a comment that you got an entire community of people looking to you for hope and guidance. If you're trying to argue that the 1.2K percent isn't somehow tied to you 1.2, I assume 1.2% tied to grifting off those same people, then you're a liar and a fraud. This comment of someone simply saying that you're an asshole or I don't like you, this is some deep down hateful shit on this guy. As one of the producers, I think that was before that, but anyway, that led to the whole backpedal thing. And then of course, Adabet blocked Sal, the fucking money launderer. He's a producer, but doesn't know it's a docuseries now, not a movie. Exactly. Like that's my point, is all these grifters that used to have prominent positions in the making of the documentary now don't have their titles anymore on the website, and as Rubbing My Axe points out, clearly aren't in the loop as to what's going on. Yeah, we're in the home stretch now because I don't know if anyone saw this. Shorts for our shorties, which I think he meant as you're like your homies. Shorts for our homies. But of course they all meant like short sellers, and so now of course he's getting roasted by fucking baggies. I would not wear short shorts. That looks uncomfortable. I wouldn't do that. Also, we got Jim Chanos dropping some real hot truths here. Stop that. See, I hate this. I hate fucking Windows 11. Stop that. I will tell you when I want to do something like that. Whatever your view on Robinhood being a casino versus a financial platform, the following observation is stunning to me. If we include January's estimated loss of 4 to 5 billion, Robinhood's customers have made very little money since the meme stock era ended. Yeah, unsurprising. User trading performance. Oh, yeah, I think that could be correlated to a lot of retail investors, not just the ones on Robinhood. So, yeah. Then of course we have yet another baggy lawsuit, where SEGG Media is suing Virtu. I had a little trouble finding this one at first because I thought, a federal lawsuit. Well, let me just go click that into Pacer. It's like, wait, it's not on Pacer. Yeah, because it's a state level lawsuit, which is kind of silly, which also makes it harder to find and follow. Color me a little paranoid, but I feel like that seems a little intentional on their part to make it a state level case. Motherfucking, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I wish I could go back to Windows 10. I would in a heartbeat. I hate Windows 11 with a burning passion. If there's a way to turn off that high bar bullshit, like someone let me know, because I despise it. Claims for relief, discovery control plan, background. Okay, what is it that they're suing over? Fraud. SEGG Media Inc. Like, see, again, these aren't securities claims. Like they went to state court to try, because they thought they were fucking cute and clever. They're going to make fraud claims. What? SEGG Media incorporates the preceding allegations as if fully set forth herein under the Texas Securities Act, a federal securities regulation and federal securities regulation. Why are you going to state court? You can't express federal securities law in state court. Defendants had a duty as market gatekeepers to monitor order flow and to refrain from facilitating and executing illegal trades. Investors cannot place their own exchanges. Oh my, yeah. So this is your standard baggy shit. Here's have found that defendants routinely disregarded their obligations. Yeah. Well, and then they got fined for it, as you are fined under securities law. That doesn't prove anything. You can't use prior bad acts as proof of current bad acts. You actually have to prove the current bad acts. Imagine that. Defendant spoofing orders materially. Oh, it's a spoofing case. Who brought this shit? Wow, it isn't a West Christian case. Color me surprised. Why would you choose state court? Violation of the Texas Securities Act. Like, I'll have to look at this in more detail, but I'm still confused as to why you would bring state level actions. I mean, why not just do this in federal court, and then you can do federal and state level? I'm baffled. Oh, then we've got the MMTLP stuff. Went well so today. He's calling vigilante and hedge. Paul Atkins just lied under oath, claiming he doesn't know that TMTG ticker symbol is DJAT. So the SEC Gov chairman expects us to believe he isn't familiar with the President of the United States stock symbol. Like, he regulates the entire market. And last oh my goodness. Let me explain. Perjury for dummies. Okay. Lying under oath, perjury. Okay. You have to knowingly make a statement that is false. And when told of the erroneous nature of your statement, not correct yourself and continue to state something that is false. For instance, I own a blue truck. If I said that, which is a knowingly false statement in a court, and then am presented with the fact that my truck is indeed not blue and continued to, and the fact that I don't own a truck, and continue to state, no, in fact, yes, I do own a blue truck, that is perjury. It's not stating something that isn't true. It's stating something that isn't true willfully and insisting upon it being true when it pointed out that it is not true. So a defense to perjury is simply, just correcting the record. It's why you get, I don't know, I don't recall, because not being able to recall that it is indeed not the case, or that you didn't know. In fact, that's a complete defense to perjury. Is like, I could say, like, You know, I own a blue truck. Well, I wouldn't be in that case. Or like, you know, I recall Josh crossing the street at 5 a.m. Well, we have camera footage that he crossed at 6. Oh, well, maybe I just misremembered. You know, I wasn't willfully deceiving. I just misunderstood when the time was. So like this, like claiming he didn't know under oath, like your lack of knowledge can't be held against you criminally. Like if you sincerely didn't know, you didn't know. Like this is so fucking stupid. I like you have to be brain dead. Oh, it's busy brands. Well, that explains a lot. The sentient jelly roll doesn't understand basic concepts of law. Who could have guessed? And also potentially paid $35 for a photo op so he could, you know, impress his baggy friends because, ooh, I had a picture with Michael Flynn. The economy will not collapse until there's a run on the banks. Oh, yes. I love baggy doomerism. I love baggy doomerism where the baggies hope and wish that everyone's lives are ruined so that they can be gorillionaires. Don't you just love it? I love it. We all love it. We know we love it. This one's actually interesting. Apparently, we're going to get a BBIG shareholder meeting, and there's been a lot of litigation going on with that. My big question is, what is BBIG trading at right now? Ooh, it's not even trading for a penny. Big yikes. Well, I'm glad you're getting your shareholder meeting, but something tells me you probably should just sold a long time ago. More baggy doomerism. Like first it was the repo market, reverse repo market, and now it's the yen carry trade and the value of the yen to the dollar. And like I love when baggies try to pretend that they understand macroeconomics and they don't have the foggiest idea. Oh, how much time we have left? Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get to Andrew left again. I'm just going to have to peel this off and save it for later because it's 10:30. I think I've gotten everything that I wanted to take care of. Unfortunately, because there's no one else here, there is no there can be no stupid tweet of the week because there's no competition to be had for stupid tweet of the week. Though I might see. Might see if someone did submit me something just to like throw up there as one. Oh. Yeah, I might do that. Let me pull it up here real quick. Stupid tweet of the week. This one is not necessarily meme stock related per se, but it is indeed pretty fucking stupid. Marantz is gone from Costco. Look, that wasn't a tweet, first of all. And second of all, look, it could not compete with the crazy that is Michael. Though I do think that most unhinged baggy award may very well go to Ann Vandersteel. It will be hard to top her Pizzagate energy. I was just talking about this, thinking about repainting my home inside with mead-based paint to block some of the EMF. Anyone else have good ideas? Now, I'll be honest. When I first read this, remember, Ann Vandersteel is the new QAnon Pizzagate queen, basically helping the baggies connect with the QAnon crowd, as if their members aren't already part of QAnon. Any Fishback comment? No, I'm thinking a lot of his fan base will end up their way into stupid tweet of the week. Maybe. I tend to keep stupid tweet of the week to Baggies though, and he's more mainstream topic stuff, so it's harder for him to get into stupid tweet of the week, or his fanboys too. But when I first read this, I thought that she clearly was meant to, because M and L are close, that it was supposed to be lead-based paint. Because, like, how is mead-based paint supposed to block electromagnetic frequencies or waves? How are microwaves stopped by fucking mead-based paint? Yes, she is the female mind and emotion. She literally was trying to associate with the Trump administration during his first presidential term, and they basically said, we have nothing to do with her. She was promoting fucking Pizzagate craziness, and now she's basically the face of the MMTLP community after Pulte left. She is absolutely unhinged. You should look her up. I think her latest live stream that I saw on her channel was basically a bunch of people that in a voice only live stream where they were basically, Donald Trump should get on with invoking the Insurrection Act so he can kill our political opponents. We would really appreciate it if he would just do that already. So yeah, she is absolutely unhinged. But like, I was thinking lead-based paint because, metals, at least that, you theoretically, even though there's not enough lead in lead-based paint to do anything. But like the idea of mead-based paint, it's just so dumb. I can't even get my head around it. But yeah, we'll count that as our stupid tweet of the week. There will be no voting on it, however, because only one. So that will do it for tonight's episode. I hope y'all enjoyed yourselves. Can anyone get me the MMTLP banner that was falling like Lincoln Logs? Yeah, get me one of those for posterity. But that will do it for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We had 2 extras this week. So if you haven't seen those, go back, check those out. I'm sure they will be fun views. It was a catch up on all the stuff from AZRH and the most recent shenanigans there. And then the one from Friday was catching up on the bankruptcy stuff for the bankruptcy hearing that will be happening this upcoming Friday. So plenty of stuff to catch up on too next week. So it'll be a busy next week as well. And we'll be around